In the spotlight tonight is Noel Turner from the Isle of Wight, a radar design engineer. His specialist subject is the life and work of Dmitry Shostakovitch. Steve Clark from Bournemouth, a mental health nurse, taking as his subject the television series Red Dwarf. Helena Rogers from Derbyshire, a retired school librarian, and her subject, the life and times of Florence Nightingale. And Dyfrig Jones from North Wales, a journalist with the life and works of Kingsley. Hello, I'm John Humphreys, and welcome to the only programme that allows the winning contender to be known forevermore as Mastermind 2003. And the winner of that highly prestigious title will be the person who knows the most and can deliver it under pressure. 2 rounds, each of 2 minutes. The first on the chosen specialist subject and the second on general knowledge. So, may I have our first contender, please? And your name is?
Noel Turner.
Occupation?
Radar design engineer.
And your chosen subject?
The life and work of Dmitry Shostakovich.
You have that in 2 minutes, starting now. For which violinist were both of Shostakovich's violin concertos composed?
Pass.
Which poet's texts were set in Shostakovich's Suite Opus 145A, one of his last major works involving the orchestra?
Yevtushenko.
Michelangelo. Which writer edited Shostakovich's controversial supposed memoirs Testimony?
Solomon Volkov.
Correct. Which of Shostakovich's symphonies were described as a Soviet artist's reply to just criticism?
The Fifth.
Correct. For which silent film did Shostakovich write his first full-length film score in 1928-29?
New Babylon.
Correct. Which conductor gave the first performances of several of Shostakovich's symphonies but withdrew from conducting the 13th?
Kondrashin.
No, Ravinsky. What was the name of Rimsky-Korsakov's son-in-law with whom Shostakovich studied at the Petrograd Conservatory?
Maximilian Steinberg.
Correct. In which Crimean resort did Shostakovich meet Tatiana Glivenko?
Pass.
From which overture by Rossini did Shostakovich quote in the first movement of his 15th symphony?
William Tell.
Correct. Which celebrated theatre director befriended Shostakovich in 1927?
Meyerhold.
Correct. Which was the first of Shostakovich's string quartets to use features of 12-note serialism?
The Eighth.
The 12th. From which novel by Dostoevsky did Shostakovich take the texts of 4 verses of Captain Lebyadkin?
Pass.
What was the English title of the article in Pravda of 1936 that attacked Lady Macbeth of the Sinsk district?
Muddle, not music.
I'll accept that. Chaos instead of music. What is unusual about the pitch content of the C major fugue from the 24 Preludes and Fugues, Opus 87?
Pass.
Which of Shostakovich's symphonies was entitled Symphonic Dedication to October?
The Second.
Correct. To whom did Shostakovich officially dedicate his 8th string quartet?
Mravinsky.
No, to the victims of fascism. You passed on 4 questions. The unusual thing about the pitch content of the C major fugue, there are no accidentals. They use only he used only white notes. From which novel by Dostoevsky did Shostakovich take the text of 4 verses of Captain Lebyadkin? It was Demons. The Crimean resort where he met Glivenko was Gaspra. And the violinist for whom both of his violin concertos were composed was David Oistrakh. So you passed on those questions. You scored, Noel Turner, 8 points. And our second contender, please. And your name is?
Steve Clark.
Occupation?
Mental health nurse.
And your chosen subject?
The television series Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf in 2 minutes, starting now. The promised land of the cat people, which they mistakenly believe to be called Fushchal, is actually which Pacific island nation?
Fiji.
Correct. Featured at the end of Series 2 as part of one of the cat's dream sequences, the song Tongue-Tied was later released in the UK singles chart in October '93, climbing to what position?
17.
Correct. Before the explosion that kills the Red Dwarf crew, Arnold Rimmer disgraces himself at dinner with his ignorance of which soup?
Gazpacho.
Correct. In Series 3, having arrived on a version of the Earth where time runs backwards, Lister and the cat mistake the speech of the people there for which language?
Bulgarian.
Correct. In the TV episode Better Than Life, which book is Rimmer asked to autograph by a young admirer while hallucinating that he is an admiral?
My Incredible Career.
Correct. The opening scene of the first television episode features Rimmer attempting to unblock what type of machine with the wrong tool?
Chicken soup machine.
Correct. Which celebrity chef played the part of a genetically engineered life form in the episode Emo Hawk?
Aisley Harriott.
Correct. During an artificial reality medieval joust in Series 7, what code word does Lister use to drastically reduce the size of his opponent's horse?
Pass.
In Series 5, Rimmer receives a hologrammatic copy of the Space Corps Directives Manual after accusing whom of inventing the book's existence?
Crichton.
Correct. Which comic actress plays the Express Lifts hostess who demonstrates the cyanide pill for use in a crash, inadvertently killing herself?
Morena Banks.
Correct. Hattie Hayridge replaced Norman Lovett as the face of the ship's computer Holly in 1989, having earlier made a one-off appearance as Hilly, the parallel universe computer, in which series?
Series 2.
Correct. Emil Charles, Angela Bruce and Jake Abram have all played different versions of which of Red Dwarf's main characters?
Dave Lister.
Correct. Lister's appendix is removed for the second time in his life in Series 6 by which character?
Legion.
Correct. In Stasis Leak, which member of Red Dwarf's production team stood in for the actress Claire Grogan in the part of Kochanski?
Donna Di Stefano.
Correct. Arnold Rimmer attempts to cover up the fact that his middle name is Judas by telling people that the initial J stands for what?
Jonathan.
Jonathan it is, and that is your 2 minutes up, and you passed on only one question. During that artificial reality medieval joust, Lister used the code word steed cheat. And now you remember it. Of course, that's the way of the world. However, Steve Clark, you scored 14 points. And our third contender, please. And your name is?
Helena Rogers.
And your occupation?
I'm a retired school librarian.
And your chosen subject?
Life and Times of Florence Nightingale.
2 minutes on that, starting now. In which poem, published in 1857, did Henry Longfellow first refer to Florence as the lady with the lamp?
Santa Filomena.
Correct. In 1838, the Nightingale sisters were invited to a children's soirée at the Rue de Bac, where Florence met which lifelong friend?
Sidney Herbert.
Mary Clark. Which Jamaican-born nurse and expert in cholera twice applied to join Florence's team in the Crimea but was twice declined?
Mary Seacole.
Correct. Which mathematician, a co-founder of algebraic invariance, became Florence's maths tutor in 1845?
Pass.
In Notes on Nursing, Florence quotes lines from which Shakespeare play as the best definition of a nurse?
Romeo and Juliet.
No, Cymbeline. What metal was smelted at the works owned by the Nightingales near their Lea Hurst home in Derbyshire?
Lead.
Correct. Of the 38 nurses who accompanied Florence, 24 were either Catholic or Anglican, and the others, according to Mary Mole, probably worshipped whom?
Oh. No, sorry, pass.
At which hospital did Miss Alice Fisher, a former pupil of Florence, found the first school of nursing in the USA in 1884?
New York.
Philadelphia. On whose death in August 1861 did Florence pray to God, asking for his resurrection, claiming, "I cannot do anything without him"?
Sidney Herbert.
Correct. When the nurses first arrived in Scutari, doctors refused to ask them onto the wards until a flood of casualties from which battle broke their resistance?
Balaclava.
The Battle of Inkerman. Florence's brother-in-law, Sir Harry Verney, was so devoted to her causes that he was frequently addressed by what title in the House of Commons?
Pass.
Which favourite cousin, the son of Samuel and Mary Smith, inherited the Nightingale property on the death of Florence's father in January 1884?
Shaw Smith.
It was indeed William Shaw Smith, and you passed on 3 questions. Florence's brother-in-law, Sir Harry Verney, was so devoted to her causes that he was frequently addressed as the member for Miss Nightingale. The nurses who were not either Catholic or Anglican were, according to Mary Mole, probably worshippers of Bacchus. And the mathematician, co-founder of algebraic invariance and Florence's maths tutor, was Sylvester. Helena Rogers, you have scored 5 points. And our fourth contender, please. And your name is?
Dyfrig Jones,
Your occupation?
journalist.
And your chosen subject?
The life and works of Kingsley Amis.
Kingsley Amis, in 2 minutes from now. Which novelist became Kingsley Amis's wife in 1965?
Elizabeth Jane Howard.
Correct. When Amis received the Somerset Maugham Award for Lucky Jim, it had the condition that he and his family spend several months abroad. To which country did he go?
Portugal.
Correct. An examination of the relationship between literature and class. What is the title of Amis's last novel published in 1995?
The biographer's moustache.
Correct. In Stanley and the Woman, Stanley Duke is married to a woman who tolerates his son Stephen from his first marriage. What's her name?
Pass.
Russian hide and seek ends with Kitty, Petrovsky's English lover, standing alone at his grave trying to remember lines from which play staged earlier in the novel?
Pass.
In Jake's Thing, what's unusual about Jake Richardson's clothing when he undergoes an experimental session in front of psychiatric experts and medical students?
He isn't wearing any trousers or underpants.
Correct. During Amis's lectureship at University College Swansea, who was the principal whom Amis would later regard as responsible for the destruction of all university education in Britain?
Pass.
After the death of Ian Fleming, Amis produced a James Bond adventure called Colonel's Son in '68. Which work on Bond had he written 3 years earlier?
The Book of Bond.
The James Bond dossier. During a visit to his friend Philip Larkin, he said he hit upon the idea for Lucky Jim when he saw the staff common room that Larkin used at which university?
Leicester.
Correct. Of which Cambridge college was Amis a fellow from '61 until '63?
Peterhouse.
Correct. Amis's novel The Alteration imagines a parallel world that would have existed had which reformer made a deal with Rome?
Pass.
In which novel is Garnet Bowen sent to track down the mysterious English author Wulfstan Strater?
I Like It Here.
Correct. How is Roger Micheldene referred to in the title of a 1963 Amis novel set in the United States?
One Fat Englishman.
Correct. What's the name of the isolated cottage that 5 people in their early 70s share in Ending Up?
Pass.
Which film made in the early 60s and starring Peter Sellers and May Zetterling was filmed in South Wales and adapted from the novel That Uncertain Feeling?
Only Two Can Play.
It was indeed Only Two Can Play. You passed on 5 questions. The name of the isolated cottage was Tuppenny Halfpenny Cottage. Amis's novel, The Alteration, imagines a parallel world that would have existed had Henry VIII made a deal with Rome. During his lectureship at University College of Swansea, he was not at all keen on Lord Fulton. A Russian hide-and-seek ends with Kitty Petrovsky's English lover standing at the grave trying to remember lines from Romeo and Juliet. And in Stanley and the Women, Stanley Duke is married to a woman who tolerates his son Stephen from his first marriage, and her name was Susan. Dyfrig Jones, you scored 9 points. And that brings us to the end of our first round on specialist subjects, so let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place on 5 is Helena Rogers. In 3rd place on 8 points, Noel Turner. In 2nd place with 9, Dyfrig Jones. In the lead with 14 points, Steve Clark. On with the general knowledge round, and let me first ask Helena Rogers to join us again, if she would, please. And you scored 5 points on Florence Nightingale. Terrifying business sitting in that chair, isn't it?
I hesitated too long.
You hesitated to... I suppose that's the thing, isn't it?
Yes, I
ask
should
for the
have said
pass
pass,
immediately
yes.
if you think, and... yeah. Why Florence Nightingale? Because you were a nurse. You're described as an ex-librarian, but you were a nurse for some years as well, weren't
Oh,
you?
yes, when I was young, yes.
And she was what? Your hero as a nurse, or what?
We heard a lot about her and what she did.
Well, let's move on to your general knowledge round now. You have 2 minutes, starting now. What is the name of the promontory on the North Antrim coast consisting of vertical columns of basalt, most of which are irregular hexagons?
Giant's Causeway.
Correct. According to popular legend, what type of fruit tree is the youthful George Washington supposed to have chopped down?
A cherry tree.
Correct. The radar range, first marketed by Raytheon in the United States in about 1954, was the first commercial model of which piece of kitchen equipment?
Pass.
The chorus of which John Lennon hit of 1970 began, "Well, we all shine on like the moon and the stars and the sun"?
Imagine.
No, instant karma. What term for lumpy fat was popularised by the French dietitian Nicole Ronsard in the early 70s?
Cellulite.
Correct. Bushido is the name given to the code of conduct of which Japanese warrior caste?
Samurai.
Correct. Which fictional hero's name was taken by his creator from the author of Birds of the West Indies, which he had in his library at his Jamaican home?
Ian Fleming.
James Bond.
James Bond, yes.
Which
yes.
Scottish Football League club, which went out of existence in 1967, took its name from a Scottish regiment?
Pass.
Sometimes applied to the bush itself, what is the name of the fruit of the blackthorn used to make a type of gin?
Juniper.
Sloe. In the 95 film The Shawshank Redemption, what kind of institution was Shawshank?
A mental institute.
A prison. Associated with Switzerland, like the cuckoo clock, what was first made in 1796 by the Swiss watchmaker Antoine Favre?
Pass.
Which is the most northerly country in the Commonwealth?
Canada.
Correct. Bred in 1867, La France was the first specimen of which type of rose, also known as large flowered?
Tea rose, hybrid tea.
Correct. Which city in Missouri, hometown of President Harry S. Truman, was the starting point for the Oregon, California and Santa Fe wagon trails?
Oregon? No.
Independence. Independence, Missouri. You passed on 3 questions. Associated with Switzerland, like the cuckoo clock, is the music box, invented by Favre. The Scottish Football League club that went out of existence in 67 was 3rd Lanark. And the radar range, first marketed by Raytheon, was a microwave oven. Yes. Helena Rogers, you had 5 points. You now have 11 points. And now will Noel Turner come and join us in the chair again, please? 8 points on Shostakovitch. Noel Turner, a great fan of Shostakovitch, I assume?
I was first introduced to his music by someone at college, and I do enjoy it immensely.
Why, as against any other composer?
I like the emotional sparsity of it, the way he sort of describes the cold Russian landscape. I've been to Russia a couple of times, and it really evokes Russia for me.
Well, very good. Let's turn to general knowledge, and you have 2 minutes, starting now. Which actress, last seen regularly on television screens as Edie Pegden in Last of the Summer Wine, died aged 91 in March this year?
Thora Hird.
Correct. Which former Prime Minister of Italy was kidnapped and killed by the terrorist Red Brigade in 1978?
Pass.
In which novel by Charles Dickens is the hero adopted by Mr. Brownlow?
Oliver Twist.
Correct. The 1854 penny red was the first officially issued British postage stamp to have what?
The Queen's Head.
No, perforations. The opening of the pheasant shooting season is on the first day of which month?
August.
October. In World War II, which country erected the Metaxas line facing Bulgaria?
Greece.
Correct. What piano piece for children do the French call Cotelette and the Germans Koteletten-Walzer?
The Blue Danube Waltz.
Chopsticks. First found at Les Baux in the south of France in 1821, bauxite is the principal ore of which metal?
Aluminium.
Correct. Which blood group is known as the universal donor because it'll be given to any of the other groups?
O.
Correct. Which city is the capital of the German state of Lower Saxony?
Pass.
Shugborough Hall in Staffordshire is the family home of which cousin of the Queen?
Pass.
Which television series of the 1970s starred Carl Malden as Detective Lieutenant Mike Stone and Michael Douglas as Inspector Steve Keller?
Pass.
Which weapon was considered so lethal that its use against Christians was outlawed by the Lateral Counts of 1139?
The crossbow.
Correct. What common term is used for the furry tufts of flowers carried by trees such as willows and hazels in spring?
Pass.
Which Irish-born playwright left a large part of his estate to set up a new English alphabet to simplify spelling?
Pass.
Which Lancashire fast bowler took 5 for 73 in his test match debut? I've started, so I'll finish. In the first test against Zimbabwe in May this year.
Croft.
It was James Anderson. So, you passed on 6 questions there. The Irish playwright who left all that money to a new English alphabet was George Bernard Shaw. The common term for those little furry tufts are catkins, or pussy willows. The television series starring Malden and Stone was The Streets of San Francisco. Shugborough Hall is the home of the 5th Earl of Lichfield. The capital of the German state of Lower Saxony is Hanover. The former Prime Minister of Italy, kidnapped and killed by the Red Brigade, was Aldo Moro. So, 6 passes. You had 8 points. You now, Noel Turner, have 14 points. And now, Dyfrig Jones, please. And you had 9 points with your subject of Kingsley Amis. A great fan, but you came to him sort of by accident, in a way, I gather?
Yeah, fairly recently, after reading his son Martin Amis's autobiography, which is partly, in a way, a biography of Kingsley.
And I always ask this people, what's the best book, do you think, he wrote?
Well, the 2 sort of famous ones, The Old Devils and Lucky Jane, were both hilarious. And I enjoyed the one that is generally considered to be his worst, which is I Like It Here. And also Ending Up is very good.
Yes, I agree. Ending Up, terrific. Right, your general knowledge section. 2 minutes, starting now. Which pigment, a shade of greenish blue, was formerly ground from the semi-precious gemstone lapis lazuli?
Pass.
Living History is the title of the autobiography of which former American First Lady?
Hillary Clinton.
Correct. Which Briton composed Amigos para Siempre, the theme for the Barcelona Olympics?
Pass.
What name is given to the thick, dark treacle that's drained from sugar during refining and from which rum is produced?
Molasses.
Correct. Jeremy John Durham are the real 4 names of which former political party leader?
Pass.
Which television series was introduced by John Philip Sousa's March Liberty Bell?
Pass.
In which city in Yorkshire was the composer Frederick Delius born in 1862?
Leeds.
Bradford. Which French term is used for a boating song, especially of Venetian gondoliers, which imitates the motion of a small boat?
Pass.
In which country are the remains of the ancient fortified Incan city of Machu Picchu?
Peru.
Correct. In a hallmark, what symbol is used to show the date when an article was manufactured?
Pass.
Which actress starred as Bathsheba Everdeen in the film Far From the Madding Crowd?
Julie Christie.
Correct. Which 1980s band took its name from a group of French revolutionaries who ruled Paris in 1871?
Pass.
Who headed the 9-man team of law officers known as the Untouchables, formed to investigate and harass Al Capone?
Elliot Ness.
Correct. What name is given to the Pope signet ring, which shows St. Peter and has the reigning Pope's name inscribed around the border?
Pass.
Whose biography of Pepys beat her husband Michael Frayn's novel Spies to the Whitbread 2002 Book of the Year award?
Pass.
Which relic was stolen by Scottish nationalists from Westminster Abbey on Christmas Day, 1950?
The Stone of Scone.
Correct. What is the more common name for the mangold, a variety of beet used chiefly as animal fodder?
Pass.
A Morbid Taste for Bones in 1977 was the first novel to feature which 12th century Benedictine monk?
Pass.
Which... I've started, so I'll finish. Which waterway runs southwest to northeast across the Glenmore Fault of northern Scotland and connects the North Sea with the North Atlantic?
No idea, sorry.
Then it made no difference. It was the Caledonial Canal. That's one you passed on. You also passed on the following. The Morbid Taste for Bones was the first novel in the Brother Cadfael series. The common name for mangold, Mangel Wurzel. It was Claire Tomalin who beat her husband Michael Frayn to win the Whitbread. The name of the Pope's signet ring is the Fisherman's Ring. The 1980s band was the Communard. The hallmark, it is the letter of the alphabet that shows the date when it was manufactured. The French term for a boating song, which imitates the motion of a small boat, is barcarolle. Television series introduced by Sousa's March Liberty Bell was Monty Python's Flying Circus. Jeremy John Durham are the first names of Paddy Ashdown. Britain who composed Amigos para Siempre was Andrew Lloyd Webber, who else? And that pigment, a shade of greenish blue, is ultramarine. So, 12 passes altogether. Dyfrig Jones, you have scored a total of 15 points. And now Steve Clark, if he would, please. So, Red Dwarf.
Yes.
You scored 14 points on that one. What is it that appeals about it? It's fairly bizarre, isn't it?
I think it's the combination of sort of science fiction and comedy, and the characters are very well rounded as well. You know, they're all they built up over the episodes.
Right, we have 2 minutes on general knowledge, starting now. Piers Morgan was appointed editor of which tabloid daily in 1995?
Daily Mirror.
Correct. In which Latin American dance of African origin do participants form a chain and march in a 1-2-3 kick pattern?
Conga.
Correct. Which wading bird, distinguished by its long upturned bill, is the symbol of the RSPB?
The stork.
No, the avocet. The dish consisting of breast of chicken stuffed with garlic butter coated with breadcrumbs and deep fried is named after which city?
Kiev.
Correct. Which Florentine painter was born Alessandro di Mariano Filippi in 1445?
Michelangelo.
Botticelli. Which work by Hector Berlioz is subtitled Episode in the Life of an Artist?
Pass.
Which Spanish autonomous region comprises the provinces of Girona, Barcelona, Tarragona and Lleida?
Catalan.
Correct. The Isle of Man was a dependency of which country until the 13th century?
Wales.
Norway. What was the name of the computer in the film 2001: A Space Odyssey?
HAL.
What name was given to the World War II heavy bomber, the B-29?
Flying Fortress.
No, the Super Fortress. What surname is shared by Ken and Charles, who both held the post of Secretary of State for Education?
Clark.
Correct. Which country's unicameral parliament is known as the Knesset?
Israel.
Correct. What name is given to a map of the heavens at the time of a person's birth by which an astrologer predicts the events in a person's life?
Star chart.
Horoscope. The vitreous and aqueous humours are found in which part of the body?
In the eyes.
Correct. The name of which full skirt with a tight waistband comes from a German dialect word for little girl?
Pass.
Which dukedom was held by King George VI before his accession to the throne?
Windsor.
No, York. Which branch of geometry deals specifically with the relation between sides and angles of triangles?
Trigonometry.
Correct. What's the standard measure for cookery ingredients in the USA, equivalent to 250 ml or 8 fluid ounces?
A cup.
A cup it is. So, you had 2 passes there. The name of that skirt with the tight waistband is the dirndl. And the work by Berlioz, subtitled Episode in the Life of an Artist, was the Symphonie Fantastique. So, Steve Clark, you scored 24 points. Well, at the end of the general knowledge round, let's take a look at the scores. In 4th place, with 11 points, is Helena Rogers. In 3rd place, with 14 points, Noel Turner. In 2nd place, with 15 points, Dyfrig Jones. And in 1st place, with 24 points, Steve Clark. So that means that Steve Clark goes through to the next round. Congratulations to him. Please join us next week for the first of our quarter-finals. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Agonising decisions tonight on BBC Two as we follow the remarkable and highly skilled work of the brain doctors at 9. Next today, memories of the Queen's Silver Jubilee in Melvyn Bragg's Mobile Cinema.